always resonates with us so much year after year. And maybe I'll also request Dr. Rajendra Pratap Gupta to come for a moment and add something to what I've said about Shri Bharat Lal. If you may come forward, and it's really an honor to have Shri Bharat Lal with us as a guest of honor.
So he is known as Shri Bharat Lal, and I think those who know the government, they know him, the way he works. I very fondly call him Bharat Bhai, but one thing I want to say here, everyone should learn his approach of making things happen. If India has to become Viksit Bharat, we need 1,000 people with a spirit, energy and ability to do things. And Bharat Bhai, I salute you for what you do and the way you do it. And I wanted to say this, that for more than a decade I have worked, he has contributed immensely to this nation. And I had the proud privilege of working with him. And I still continue to, and he takes out time for this summit. Thank you so much, Bharat.
Everyone. Mr. Dr. Rajendra P. Gupta, eminent scholars, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it's a privilege. And right to life is one of the basic, very basic human right, fundamental right. And from right to life originate right to health. And most important part is that this right is justiciable, enforceable. Supreme Court is basically custodian of this right. So right to life, right to health is basically justiciable. Supreme Court can issue writs, Supreme Court can issue direction. And it is also guaranteed that any person, if he wants enforcement of his right, he or she has been given again as a fundamental right to approach the court, Article 32, that you can approach High Court and Supreme Court for enforcement of these rights. So in this context, kindly appreciate that it is the state's responsibility to ensure that basic healthcare services are made available to citizens. When I say that all citizens, all human beings in this country, it means people living in any part of the country, whether it's a remote area, inaccessible area, anywhere. I think they have the right to have access to healthcare. Well, I think this is the constitutional foundation, and I would like to deliver few points. I would like to talk few points about this constitutional foundation, that what we mean by access to healthcare. As I mentioned, where basically we are looking at it. Now see the big picture. The big picture is that 1.45 billion people. We can see this dimension of two more dimensions, that 10% of Indian population is above 60 years. And this number is growing. 10% means 145 million people. And this is growing, that in 2050, this 10% is going to become 20%. The projections are that 20% of Indian population, 1 in 5, will be above 60 years. At that point of time, it means 350 million people. 350 million people above 60 years. And as you know, that because of age, because of n number of factors, there are certain chronic diseases which are basically linked with aging. On the other hand, because what we call demographic dividend and bulge, roughly 25% population is below 15 years. 25% population is below 15 years, and every year roughly 20 million, newborn babies are added. So you can appreciate that the kind of healthcare requirement, starting from prenatal, postnatal, immunization and all other issues. If you look at the infrastructure, yes, and especially in last 1 decade, tremendous effort have been made. I mean, number of medical colleges, number of undergrads students, number of PG students, almost everything has doubled. Now we have 22A. All India Institute of Medical Sciences. If you see at the village level, rural area where 70% population lives, we have National Rural Health Mission, where Let me also give one small dimension that in last 1 decade, I think we have made tremendous progress in terms of, let's say, polio has been eradicated, trachoma has been eradicated. Very important thing I would like to say that in India, reduction in MMR, if you see in last 6-7 years, we have assembled here. And one challenge I would like to mention very specifically that in rural India, where 70% of our population lives, in forested area, remote area, border area, is it possible that, like, to you and me, maybe in 5 minutes, 2 minutes, we have access to healthcare person? In these areas, can we make a healthcare professional available in, let's say, 20 minutes or 30 minutes? In rural area, in villages, can we ensure that in 20 to 30 minutes, services of a doctor, a medical professional is available? Second part is that the challenge which we are facing is very unique to this sector, not only this sector but many. Our beds will be minimum. By nature, hospital will be in urban area, they are not in rural area. One example I'll give that yes, overall number of beds in this country, average is still like 0.77 bed, less than 1 bed for 1,000 people. But more importantly, take the case of like Bihar. There are only 0.22 beds per 1,000 population. This is one aspect I mentioned. So it means where the demand is there, where the population is very high, the medical facilities or services are lower. Second challenge which we are facing is that non-standardization of diagnostic processes. If you fall in a village, in rural area, there is a possibility that minimal possible tests will be done and straight away you can be prescribed including antibiotics. But in government hospital or private hospital in cities, probably a number of diagnostic tests will be done and then probably prescription will be made. You know that it can lead to many problems, especially in remote area where straight away you are being given some medicine and prescription is made. Then the third dimension of our healthcare is about mental health issues. As we know, 15% of population is experiencing some kind of mental health issues at some stage of life. And one of the major challenges is increasing, and that is antimicrobial resistance in this country. And as I said, it has certain linkage with diagnostic process and And two more things is that lifestyle diseases. I think that is the answer. And more importantly, strategic convergence of data analytics, artificial intelligence, and digital healthcare. I think if we are able to combine